Welcome, everybody. This is Waiting Room Podcast. I'm your host, Kyle Waite. Today, as always, we're going to cover some sports. I've got some NBA playoffs, and I've got my thoughts on Lamar Jackson's new extension or possible new extension. I also want to cover Texas's new heartbeat bill, which is very controversial, and I know some of my friends' family feel a certain way about it. Being that I do live in the state of Texas, it especially caught my eye. I don't know that I ever thought it would be a real thing, at least not this soon. We'll cover more of that. And my real irritation subject for the day: why are we treating service members, service industry workers, like crap? I'm not talking military. I'm talking, people that work at restaurants, whether it's your bartender, your server, your waiter, screaming at anybody that works in a service industry where these people aren't getting a whole lot of love anyway. If you're being honest with yourself, you've probably, been a little harsh on somebody. And just in my recent experience, I feel like it's gotten worse. So I just want to go a little bit over that. Why are we doing this? Maybe suggest things to you. If there are any service industry workers out there, maybe throw a few suggestions your way for better ways to handle things. First, I want to lead off NBA playoffs. I'm not covering the entire NBA playoffs. I don't care about the entire NBA playoffs. The first series I want to cover is the Clippers. And the Clippers are the definition. You would have thought they learned last year. The Clippers are down 2-0. And they're the definition of fuck around, find out. They fucked around, and they're in a 2-0 hole to a Dallas team that's historically bad. Luka Doncic is a magnificent player. Love watching him. I love watching certain aspects of the game. But I love watching the best players in the league. Despite that, the rest of that cast is Tim Hardaway Jr., Kristaps Porzingis, Maxi Kleber. It's not a who's who of names. They should not be bumping up against Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. And you look at the rest of their roster. You've got champions all over the Clippers. Not their, not one of their two best players, but you got champions littered across the Clippers roster. And yet they just can't figure it out. And it blows my mind. I don't know how you go from blowing that lead to Denver to starting off a series. You would have thought just punch him in the mouth. Honestly, not literally, figuratively. Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, whether or not you want to acknowledge it, two of the best wing players in the game. Two of the top, on the low side, two of the top 10. I'd say probably the top 6 wing players in the NBA. I find them fantastic to watch. They can get to the rim with anybody. You look at Kevin Durant, LeBron James, Luka. You look at those guys and you're like, hey, they can get to the rim just as well as him. Why are they settling for jumpers? I feel like game 2 they addressed it a little better, but they came out with the L. Tim Hardaway Jr., again, he's a nice player, but he's your 6th, 7th man. He's not somebody who should be going off for 28 points. It kills me. I don't know how you do that. I don't know. I honestly am not worried. I could honestly see the Clippers coming back, winning 4 straight games, and it not being a big deal. I could also, Clippers get swept. I don't know. But it blows my mind. It blows my mind that after last year's collapse to Denver, that they would fuck around with they're one of the worst defensive teams in the league in Dallas. And just, it's hard to watch. Staying in LA, Lakers, Phoenix, you had to see it coming. Phoenix had a fantastic game 1. Chris Paul gets hurt. They come out with the win, But at the end of the day, Anthony Davis is going to be Anthony Davis in the long run. In a series, Anthony Davis is going to be Anthony Davis. LeBron James is going to be LeBron James. It sounds crazy, but they're doing what you want. Essentially, they took one from Phoenix at home. That's all you want, whether it's game 1 or game 2. You want to take one from them at home, and The Lakers did that. I don't see any reason other than their seeding. I understand people see the 7 seed Lakers. They it's not as good of a team. No, it's as good of a team as last year because they've got Anthony Davis and LeBron James. I don't know how you argue with that. I wouldn't, but that's just me. That's just me. Phoenix. I lived in Phoenix for enough years to watch Point Devin Booker. It's not where it's at. They've looked better. I think it's because Chris Paul. I do. Most of the change in their team from this year to last year is Chris Paul. Yeah, Jay Crowder, but I'll tell anybody, if Jay Crowder is the hill you want to die on for why Phoenix is better, I mean, can't stop you. Just it's a crazy thing to argue. Oh, Jay Crowder is one of the maybe. Chris Paul's the reason they're better. Chris Paul's hurt now. He'll probably end up suiting up for the rest of the series because that's just the kind of guy he is. Unless he physically cannot play, he's going to play. I just don't see Phoenix making it out of this series. And I think most national media feel the same way. There's no way for this cast without a Chris Paul, without a healthy Chris Paul, of making it through this. It doesn't make sense. It's not that it doesn't matter. It's just growing up these last few years out in Phoenix, like I said, watched enough of the Suns. They're an improved team, but it's essentially the same team. They're exciting to watch, but you bump them up against the big boys, and I can't see them taking the series. I hope it keeps going, keeps being entertaining. Who doesn't love some Devin Booker? Who doesn't love LeBron James, AD? They're fun to watch. I want a good series out of this. It looks like it'd be 4-1. 4-1, it's over. So, hey, Phoenix took a game, but it's not shocking me if they take the only one. Tonight, we've got Knicks and Hawks. Again, I said this on an earlier podcast. I love when good teams are better. And 2 years ago, I was a year early on them. 2 years ago, I said Atlanta Hawks are going to be a playoff team. They came out sucked last year. I was a year early. They came out this year. They're a good team. Good team. Fun to watch. I don't care. It's nothing. I don't care about the city of Atlanta. But, man, I'm just not excited about this team. Part of it's I don't want to be wrong. I've told all of my buddies from Atlanta, I don't think your team can win with Trae Young. I think he's a losing player. I think he'll get you 35 a game, and I think he'll allow the other point guard or the guy he's defending to score. It's just who he is. Part of it plays into that. But, I mean, again, I love watching the big teams do well. The Knicks have been so bad for so long. I want to see the Knicks succeed. Game 2 tonight, I don't see why they don't come out with a win. But, again, personal bias, it's just what I want to see. I just want to see the Knicks, I want to see the Knicks just sweep the rest of the series. Can't go out with a complete sweep, but, hey, we can go 4-1. Go 4-1. Then they can get knocked out. I don't care. But they can't. If you're asking me who I'd rather see in the next round, I'd rather see the Knicks play somebody rather than Atlanta. It's just who I think Atlanta will get thrashed by a second round team. I at least think with their length, with their defense, Tom Thibodeau is known for running down his players until they can't run anymore. Look, it's just how I see it. I just see a more exciting, better fit team to at least play some defense in the second round. And I know the NBA is not known for defense now, but I mean, come on. It's a long team. It's a long team. Julius Randle, RJ Barrett, Obi Toppin, some guys y'all don't know. Emmanuel Quickly. I mean, they're a fun, long defensive team who, I feel bad for their starters. They play 40 minutes a game, but I want to see it. I'd rather see them see Atlanta. But again, personal bias. That's all I'm covering for the NBA today. Maybe later in the week, I'll run down some more. But again, a lot of these first round series, they're going to be 5 games. Nobody's going to care. We're all waiting for round 2, round 3. Some of y'all don't even care about basketball at all. Maybe some of you just wait for the finals. Again, Sacramento Kings fan, active, love my team. They're shit. They're awful. I don't get to root for that stuff. So I'm going to watch the exciting series. And again, I'm not really going to give a crap about a lot of these first round series. Moving on, Again, I want to discuss Lamar Jackson. For those of you that know me, I am an avid, active, rabid Ravens fan. Uh, why is that? When I was a little kid, I saw Ray Lewis dance around on TV. It was the most exciting thing I ever saw. I mean, this guy loves football so much that he loves to dance around the field before a game. It's, as a kid, how could you not love that? Somebody excited about playing the game. At least for most of my childhood and teenage years, I was excited to play football. Then it became little less exciting. But, love the Ravens. So, of course, what rules the NFL? Quarterbacks. Quarterbacks rule the NFL. And Baltimore's coming up on that, just haunted time where you got to pay a quarterback. It's either that or go back to the days of Ryan Mallett and God knows who fighting for the quarterback job because Joe Flacco's hurt. I'll tell everybody I was wrong about Lamar Jackson. When they drafted Lamar Jackson, I was upset. Or what I will tell everybody, I was upsetty spaghetti. I didn't like it. I watched his workouts. I saw him play in college. It was his windup looked funny. He would float deep balls. It wasn't something that I got excited about. Joe Flacco gets injured. They throw Lamar Jackson there. He kind of proved me right. He was not the best throwing quarterback. But if you watch Lamar Jackson and say, man, watch just YouTube his highlights. It's fun to watch. He is an exciting player. He won the MVP in his second year in the NFL. Man, I love seeing that. So I would be heartbroken if they let him go. Comes out today, says, hey, I want to be a Raven forever. Here's the caveat to that. Quarterbacks make a lot of money. Blows my mind that in this day and age, they make so much money. What they used to argue about, 10 years ago. Dudes are making $40 million a year at that position. It's great. I think it's great. I don't really love it trying to buy tickets for football games because guess what? The more players get paid, good for them. They deserve it. They're the ones out there earning the money, getting their bodies beat up. All the concussion problems they have and, have when they get done. But man, they make so much money. And if you're a fan of a team, this is the time you dread. You're like, oh, we got a great quarterback. Crap, we got to pay him now. Like I say, he comes out, says, I want to be a Raven forever. He makes $1.7 million this year. If they pick up his fifth-year option, he makes $23.1. Sounds like a bargain to me. If you want to keep a guy, hey, makes $23 million next year. It's less than 40. The question is, how much are they going to have to pay him per year? I mean, you look at what Patrick Mahomes got. Patrick Mahomes, if you're looking at the financial aspect, probably did the silliest thing he could have. 10 years, $450 million. He's set for life. He's set for life. But this QB market only goes up. Just keeps going up. Now, if you're a lesser quarterback, I don't know how he swung it. Maybe just because Dallas fans are scared. Dak Prescott makes $40 million a year. I don't know that he's won a play. I want to say he's won one whole playoff game. It's as many as Lamar Jackson's won. He's also been in the league longer. But $40 million. You figure Lamar Jackson's, he's got that MVP in his back pocket. You got that card. Play it. I feel like that's where Baltimore starts. Hey, 41 million, yeah? Hey, yeah. I mean, you want to be the first one. You don't want to wait till Baker Mayfield gets signed, Josh Allen gets signed, because then you're just competing. Like, hey, my resume's as good or, close to as good, whatever. But yeah, you start there. I want to see him there. Again, we're all going to go off our biases. I'm a biased Raven fan. I want him to stay. He's fantastic to watch. Not always the best throwing quarterback, but that man can run. And if he starts running, he might throw it. Dude's got an arm. I want to see him keep him. But, things don't always work that way. The important thing is he wants to stay. Will they come to an agreement? I hope so. But hey, that's all we got for sports today. For those of you that know me, you know my partner Kelsey was a bartender. She's a bartender, she's a part-time manager at a little place called Twin Peaks. So, for those of you that don't know what Twin Peaks is, I don't know the politest words to use. I mean, it's essentially a Hooters, but they, less clothes. I mean, they typical uniform, jean shorts, a nice little crop top and plaid. Well, nice lumberjack theme, but Black Lingerie Fridays, stuff like that. So you can imagine the type of people that come in there. It's largely dudes, but it's a family restaurant. They build a family environment. But on the regular, I hear stories, whether they involve Kelsey or not. I just hear stories, nightmares of people just treating service industry workers like crap. Now, I'm not going to say that every girl that works there is in the right. We've all had bad experiences. All of us. I've definitely had. I went as far as to barely tip somebody. I don't know that I've ever stiffed somebody, but I think I left $2 on like a late lunch tab, and I was just I was mad. But that was younger me, and I didn't know how to handle myself. I probably wasn't as direct as I am now. I really do try to be polite, being that I have a partner that works in the service industry. But again, we all have bad days. And that's what I try to keep in my mind if I have bad service. Hey, maybe this person's having a bad day. But I know not all of us are like that. I know that we sometimes don't really care. I know that some of us have it built in to us that we are going to treat service workers how they treat us. I mean, I get it. But I mean, some of us don't even have jobs where we interact with outside people. We interact with our coworkers, and that's about it. Some of us work in customer service jobs where you do have to help people all the time. And it's not always easy. Sometimes you get difficult people. You just get difficult people. So I understand. Sometimes you sit down and the guy that's serving you just got yelled at by some other customer. I really do try to take that into account. But I'm largely the customer. I am. I haven't worked a service industry job. Well, 5 years. Front desk of a hotel. They literally pay you to smile. So I smiled every day. I don't know if it was off-putting. My mom says I'm handsome. Some of you may disagree. But yeah, they paid me to smile. So that's exactly what I did. People would scream in my face, I'd smile. 5 years ago, I was 27. Some of these girls are 18, 19. They don't know squat. They're learning. They're learning how to be adults. They're learning to figure out life. Some of them are making real poor decisions outside of work. Some of them are making poor decisions at work. But I think about that. I really do sit and think, man, some of these people are so young. And not just at Twin Peaks. Again, I'm there a lot because I pick Kelsey up from work. But I just feel like the stories get wilder and wilder. So to give you some backstory about what spurred this, it was really the thing that broke the straw that broke the camel's back. Kelsey was doing her job as a manager, and they had a 30-person party come in. Okay, 30 people. If you're not going to a place and you reserved an area for 30 people, I don't know what service you're expecting, but it's going to be rough for you, for the staff. It's going to be. Call ahead. I don't know what to do in that situation. I would suggest going to a place that you reserve a room, reserve an area. If you can. If you can't, maybe don't go to that place. But man, you're gonna go to a place, 30 people, and then be shocked. 2-3 hour wait. And then say, okay, hey, you're willing to make that wait. If you are willing to make that wait, I'm gonna tell you, you got to come in with a good attitude. You already decided at that point you are gonna wait. And I'm not saying this is exactly what it is, but I'll tell you, if somebody at a restaurant says, hey, it's going to be a 2 to 3 hour wait, they're almost encouraging you to go somewhere else. They're never going to turn down your money. But if somebody says, hey, you got a 2-3 hour wait, there's very few places that I'm willing to go for a 2 to 3 hour wait. That must be a heck of a steak that you're getting from that place. But I mean, typical family-friendly places. Hey, you want to go to Applebee's, Chili's? I don't know. Applebee's is a family-friendly place anymore. Not trying to slander Applebee's if there's an Applebee's employee watching. But Twin Peaks. You have family-friendly places. I just not willing to wait 2-3 hours. I'm sorry. But again, you have people that just increasingly treat them like crap. So back to my story, 30-person party was willing to wait the time. They found seating options for them, served them their meal. There's no issues other than the wait, which again, you got 30 people. If you go to a 30-person party and you go to a restaurant and they are not directly, in charge of you, or they don't have a dedicated wait staff to you, there's going to be a wait. There is. It's a whole other restaurant, not just you. Think about that. Just think about it. You go to a place with a big part. I'm not saying 30 people. You go with 20 people. And you're going to be waiting. Sorry. Just how it is. I don't know how people don't understand that. But you're going to be waiting. On this particular instance, they only had 2 people waiting on that 30-person party. Some of you might be thinking, well, why would you only put 2 people? Have you gone to a restaurant lately? Seems like everywhere's understaffed. I live in a city with 2 million people, and they're understaffed. Why? It's some of you. I'm just going to be honest. It's some of you. Might not be anybody directly watching, but it's some of you. It's me on a bad day. It's people. Yes, unemployment exists. Some people are just sitting at home collecting their unemployment and not working. A lot of people just don't want to work service industry jobs anymore, and I don't blame them. But 2 people for a 30-person party do the best job they can, apologize for any issues, $0 tip. I don't know what you're thinking there. I don't. I was shocked because in that instance, as just a normal person, I would have thought out of pity. Out of pity. You may not have even liked the service, the food, whatever. Out of pity. There's 2 people waiting on you for 30 people. Pity tip them. So because of this, I did a little research, asked Kelsey some questions, asked a broad audience some questions about, hey, what have you heard? Do people tell you? What I found out is a lot of people try to skate out. Hey, the waitress stepped away. Let's sign this check in. I mean, I guess I get it. But if you had such an issue with the service, why wouldn't you tell somebody, hey, this is why I'm not tipping? I don't know. Maybe it's the way I was raised. Common courtesy, though. I didn't like some form of service you provided. So I am going to tell you what I didn't like. and maybe offer some advice. It might come out condescending and crappy, and maybe that's not your intent. But do you expect people to get better at their jobs if you just, oh, you did a bad job, I'm not tipping you, and I'm not telling you why? You can leave a mean, snarky note, or you can do whatever. But again, maybe just have that short conversation. Hey, look, um, this, and this bothered me. And maybe people are afraid of getting their minds changed. Maybe that's it. Maybe people are just like, what, if I talk to this person, probably going to persuade me to leave a couple bucks. So what? You sat there and took up their time. You essentially took their money. And for people that don't get that, you are taking their money when you sit down at somebody's section. You are occupying their ability to make money. Some of you are like, Kyle, don't they make an hourly wage? This was another thing I heard from people. People don't know how much service and industry workers make. The Federal Labor Standards Act is $2.13 an hour. $2.13. That is the minimum that a tipped employee can make. That should bother you. That should bother you. Whether you live in a state, there's 35 states are at least in the ballpark of that. $2.13 an hour. Why? I mean, honestly, I get it. Like the places that don't do that, places like California, Washington, Minnesota, Montana, they keep it at their state minimum wage at least. Which, if you live in those states, it's great. I mean, some of you guys need it. Realistically, some of you guys need it. Some of you guys need that $13 an hour on top of your tips. But $2.13 an hour, that's covering your taxes. That's it. Taxes. Yeah. You think it's okay to occupy somebody's money and knowing that they're going to get just their taxes covered? They waited on you for free. They gave you a convenience. You didn't have to cook. You didn't have to clean your dishes. You didn't have to bring your food to the table. You had to enjoy time with your family. And they did all that for free. Because a lot of places, that's what they're doing. I think the biggest slap in the face are the states that don't do just the bare minimum. So do a little bit more. Arkansas, they don't do the minimum. You know what they do? $2.23 an hour. Come on. $2.23 an hour, you're probably covering taxes. Still, that extra 10 cents is helping? It's not. Again, I've seen a lot of server paychecks. It's $0. They don't get a paycheck. It does not matter how many hours they work. That the money they make, it's pretty much all taxed. They don't make that money. So if you're not tipping, they're not making money. They just did all of that. They gave you a service, provided a convenience. And as I said, I understand not all servers are great at their job. But consider that. Maybe you got a new server. Nobody wants to work there. So you're getting just new people all the time. All the time. Maybe you go to a place, oh, I know this person. I've seen this person before. Maybe they've been there for 2 months. Did you perfect your job in 2 months? I bet you didn't. Don't lie to me and tell me you did. It blows my mind. Again, wait times. You wanted to sit there. They told you it'd be a wait. That's a reason not to tip somebody? Your server's not making you wait. Or maybe they are. Maybe you see them gossiping in the corner. Address it. Have that conversation. Hey, I understand that you're talking to your friend, uh, but could you come over here a little more frequently, please? What's wrong saying please? They're waiting on you. That person might roll their eyes at you. So what? So what? Have you ever heard of being the bigger person? Be the bigger person. They deal with people all the time. All the time. They don't have those nice conversations. They get screamed at. Somebody came to me at my job and screamed, well, my job's different. I work in a prison. But again, at your jobs that are not law enforcement related, hey, you come and scream at somebody's face at your job, you're not going to like it. I sure wouldn't. I don't like it. I hate grown men up in my face screaming. Half the stuff I can't address. I can't get them out of prison early. I don't know when they get released. I want to make sure they're alive. But that's the thing. They're in a job where their job is to be as polite as possible. So what's wrong with you reciprocating? Hey, if they're not being polite as possible, why can't you? It's not always easy to smile at people. I got tested frequently when I worked at the hotel front desk. Be polite. There's nothing wrong with being polite to people. I'll get you next time. Will you? Will you tip them next time? Will you make sure you go out of their way? What if you go on their day off? I'll get you next time. It's a terrible excuse. Do something for me. Leave $2. Leave $2. I'm a broke college kid. That's another fun one. Leave $2. I'm gonna tell you, it's a little different. That's the way I say. I can't tell you what to tip. We all have an idea of what a good tip is. Service industry workers have an idea of what a good tip is, and you'll notice that if you go out to eat with one and see them tip, they tip probably more than you think they would. But leave $2. I don't get this. I don't make that much money. Neither do they. But they're at work. And as I said, a lot of those places they don't pay them. People that come there pay them. That's just the nature of the job. Leave $2. Hey, you paid $100 for your meal. You can't leave $2. Leave $5. Leave something. You leave change to be petty. I can't stop you. I mean, I believe in karma. Karma will come back to bite you. But I believe in treating people with respect. I don't have to like them. I don't have to say that their service was the best in the world. And maybe those people are like, haha, I treated them like crap and I still got a tip. Maybe. I don't care. It doesn't cost me a whole lot to be nice. And I feel like that's what we've gotten away from. I'm not just saying service industry world. I mean, a lot of people, just being nice is a foreign concept to people. But I don't get it. I mean, I've heard other excuses predetermined by how they look. Skin color, do they have a ring on? Are they overweight? Are they too skinny? If you're going to predetermine that, I mean, why go out? Why go out? Why go out and treat these people like crap? Or not even treat them like crap. But hey, this person's more often than not going to work decently hard for you. And if they don't, and you don't say something, I mean, whose fault is it really? I believe in helping people correct their behavior. And maybe somebody doesn't realize that, hey, they're taking a little too much time. Maybe you don't realize they have too many tables. I don't know what it is. But I do see that people are just, it's gotten worse and worse and worse. And some of it's just, you know what? People don't know. People don't know what they don't know. And I'm okay with it. I don't know, for any of you that follow the page, the group on Facebook, I put this as a social learning podcast, and I did that for a reason. I want to educate and be educated. I want to put out some sort of positivity in the world. And again, this is my daily irritation. I still want to find positivity in it. I want us to start understanding that these people that look run down, they're all run down. They all work long hours. Some of them really hate their jobs, and they're working that job that you didn't tip them for to try and do something else. I've met girls that want to be lawyers. Far-fetched as it sounds, doctors. People do go to school to be doctors and waitress at the same time. Hey, get into a different job. Minimum skills, minimum pay. Have you ever dealt with a 30-person party who could not be pleased? 10-person, 5-person? Have you dealt with people that cannot be pleased and your money was affected by it? Some of you have. Some of you are in sales. How'd that make you feel? Bet it wasn't good. Bet you tried so hard and you still got treated like crap. And it blows my mind. Why would people voluntarily treat people like crap, knowing that they got treated that way? Maybe they just don't know. I don't know the fix for it. All I know is that I want us to be better as people. I want, as entertaining as some of these stories are, I hear all manner of crazy stories. Some that involve the cops get involved. But man, I'd love to just find out, hey, people just got nicer. My podcast isn't doing that, but maybe it does for the people watching. Maybe people watching start considering other people's feelings. Maybe some of you are like, fuck you, Kyle. Maybe. But keep that in mind. If a bartender cuts you off, you had too much, especially if you get angry. For those of you who don't realize, they overserve you, you get drunk, you get into an accident, that bartender's liable. They're going to find where you were drinking. It's not that hard. Credit card receipts exist, they're going to find out where you were drinking. So if you get cut off, go somewhere else and drink, or go home. I don't understand the concept of going out and drinking a whole lot, because guess what? Drinking at home's cheaper. Also, I have a kid like to hang out with. That's just me, though. But again, if we're going to start faulting people and basing our tips around, hey, we don't like this, and you're not going to address it politely. Come on. I mean, nobody's listening to the angry shit you say. You address it politely, maybe it'll help. Maybe that person is going to, talk crap about you after you leave. I don't know. But again, this affects me enough to where I'm like, hey, I've seen this. I caught myself 2 days ago. I was short my waitress. I apologize. And was super polite to her the rest of the meal, because I was like, we're in the middle of a time where people just are okay with treating each other like crap. I don't see a reason for it. My high school teacher, my favorite high school teacher, Tom Pasquini, he'd always say this, and it was the corniest thing in the world for a teenager to hear, but he'd always say, it's nice to be nice. Isn't it, though? Sometimes it's hard to deal with. You haven't had your coffee, you're tired, you don't want to listen to that person's voice. But gosh, it's nice to be nice. Whether it's for you or whether it's for them. Let's start being nicer to each other. Let's start by doing it for the people that, whether you know it or not, and I'm going to tell you, if you don't know, now you know. They get treated like crap. It just happens. I want to move on to a more serious and somber subject. With the show's lead off, I told you guys, Texas, 19th of May, enacted their new, essentially it's the heartbeat bill. Why? Why? This might upset people, but I'm pro-choice. I'm pro-choice. It is not my body. It's not. Now, I understand that some people, like Kyle, what about those unborn babies? Are you taking care of them? No. Some of these people are not fit to be parents. Some of them are aware of that. Oh, well, use protection. Protection doesn't always work. Works a lot. I mean, I'm a very clear poster child for what happens when you don't use it. But come on. We're going to start telling women in the state of Texas. I mean, it's not just Texas. But again, this is what affects me. We're going to tell women 6 weeks into a pregnancy, hey, you can't get an abortion. Why? Some people, hey, some people slip one through the net and, hey, we're pregnant, we didn't want to be. We were using protection, we were using birth control, still got pregnant. I've been around long enough to see it. Plenty of people on birth control getting pregnant. It's not 100% effective, guys. And I've seen so many cases of, again, somebody, sneaking one through and, hey, look, they're having a kid. And a lot of people are excited. Some people don't react that way. Hey, you know what? I don't want to have it. But I have these, as with anything, I like to do some research. So for those of you who don't know, a lot of national, state, larger area statistics, they're done. We typically don't get that year until 2 years later. So as of right now, I'm going to use what I have, which is the 2019 Texas statistics for abortion. In 2019, there were 56,620 abortions in the state of Texas. That's it. I'm not saying that's it to the number. I'm saying, just in the state of Texas. Now, again, a lot of you are wondering, hey, well, when are they getting these, when are they getting them? 83.7 were 8 weeks or fewer. Convenient, right? A lot of people can go through their first trimester and have no clue. No clue they're pregnant. I'm not saying that that's the only thing. I'm just saying that Texas passes a bill where, hey, the second you can hear a heartbeat, which is as early as 6 weeks, you can hear a heartbeat. You hear a heartbeat, you can't have an abortion. Come on. Again, we do timing because the statistics lay it out. 83.7. It's the majority. You guys want to know who's having later term abortions in Texas? 1.5%. I didn't math that out exactly how many it is. But 1.5% are having them 17 weeks or later. People aren't, last second, pretty well-grown fetuses, at least, being able to see it's a baby. People aren't doing that. Not in the state of Texas, at least. But we're going to tell people, hey, sorry, we heard a heartbeat. Can't get an abortion. I don't know how else to say this. I'll probably keep beating this dead horse while I'm talking on the subject. It is not your body. You should not have the right to tell somebody, hey, you got pregnant? Tough shit. Tough shit. you're going to have that baby because we say so. You're going to neglect this kid because you're probably not a fit parent. Okay. Because guess what? The system's not taking care of these kids after they're born. Sometimes the parents don't either. The age group for these abortions. 8.5% of these 56,000 plus abortions were 16 to 19. 57.5% were 20 to 29. 1% were under 15. The average abortion age is 27.2 in the state of Texas for 2019. 27.2. They're adults. They make adult decisions. A lot of them early. A lot of them, when they realize they're pregnant, are like, I don't think I'm ready for a child. And why are we here sitting telling people, sorry, you're having this baby? Well, people may not know. The process of an abortion. You have to be provided the sonogram 24 hours prior to an abortion. To give the medical information, the alternatives, and assistance if you decide to go through that pregnancy. I don't see anything wrong with that. Isn't that what you should do? Educate people. I think it would be wrong to educate or not to educate somebody on the dangers of abortion. Or maybe if you think you're not ready, or not even that you're not ready, you don't think you can financially provide for that child. And you find out that, hey, because of these programs, maybe I could. Maybe I do want to be a parent. Educate people. There's nothing wrong with that. I feel like that's the biggest issue. I don't know if any of you remember 7th grade. That's when I learned it. 7th grade, sex ed. But it was kind of like a don't have sex ed. That's the education I got. Because we're scared. I understand. There's nothing wrong with being scared of things. These girls, these women are scared. They don't know if they can be fit mothers. And God, I remember the feeling before my first kid was born. I was scared. Out of my fucking mind. I wasn't even sure I wanted my first kid. I wasn't. I really wasn't. But at that time, I was like, well, it's not my choice. It's not. For anybody that doesn't know me, I've got 3 kids with 3 women. One is with my ex-wife. One is with somebody who I never had a real relationship that wasn't a physical one. And one's with my partner now. And at that time, it was up to them. Like, I'm gonna be honest. I wasn't sure if I could or should or whatever should be having kids with some of these people. At the time I had my first kid, I was 21. So I was 20 when I found out she was pregnant. But I was 21 when I had my first kid. Was not ready. Up until my son was thrown into my arms by the doctor. And then I realized I was. Some people don't understand about parenthood. If you're worried, you're probably in the right place. And the only way you're going to know, and maybe you don't feel it instantly, but the only way you're going to know is when they shove that kid in your arms and you're like, holy crap, I'm a parent. That's it. But we don't educate people like that. We don't. We educate out of fear. We do that a lot. Oh, well, like, what about this? What about that? What about it's not your fucking body? It blows my mind. It blows my mind that in 2021 we could still be fighting abortion rights. I'm not a woman, but I'm sure every dude has seen those memes from those women talking about like, hey, maybe all men should be getting, mandatory vasectomies. I'll pass until I'm good and ready. Why aren't we giving women that option? Why aren't we giving women the option to opt out? I'll dig a little further into my story. I have 3 kids with 3 women. I would have 5 kids by 5 women, theoretically, doing the math, if 2 of them weren't aborted. Or maybe I'd have 1 kid, in a miserable life. I found out in basic training that my girlfriend potentially had an abortion from her mother. I didn't know anything about it. What I do know is even as a teenager, I realized I was miserable with that person. I would be tied to that person the rest of my life. That's what you are. Whether or not you acknowledge it, if you want to be a good parent, you're tied to the other parent the rest of your life. I would have been happy there. The second aborted child I have, some of y'all are going to be like, I don't know if I can be Kyle's friend anymore. Social education. I want you guys to know who you're dealing with. And there was a point in my life, not too long ago, I was not a great person. Not proud of who I was. The second aborted kid I had was in the middle of my marriage with a married person. I'm not proud of that. But then I think about it, that to my knowledge, that person's husband never found out. To my knowledge. But she would have had a terrible life if she'd gone through with her pregnancy. And maybe my life would be I guarantee it'd be a lot different. I wouldn't have met my partner. And that's what I always trace it back to, is I'm not saying like abortions are this good thing. I'm just saying what's wrong with educating people on the pros and the cons and saying you decide. Because in the state of Texas, you cannot anymore. And I tell you guys, I value all life. But I'm gonna be honest, I don't dictate all life. I value all life. I value what's in front of me. What affects me. But I'm not about to sit here and tell women, like the state of Texas has, you know what? You had sex. You raised that kid. The system's not going to. It's upsetting, guys. I don't know what to say about this other than I'm upset. I will say I hope advocates for those rights keep fighting and get them. I'm a dude. I shouldn't have a right to say, hey, one half of that kid's mine, so I get to say, no, I don't. I made the decision to have sex. That was my decision for the rights of that kid. I decided to have sex. Okay. If that woman decides they want a kid, you're going to be riding with it. And honestly, I hope that's how some people feel. Maybe they don't. And it's okay. You all got kind of a window into why I feel the way I feel. But again, I do think it's fundamentally wrong to tell women what they can do with their bodies. That's just me, guys. I'll conclude this with repeating what I said earlier. It's nice to be nice, guys. It really is. Whether or not you realize it, it can make somebody's day. I'm not the best at it, but gosh darn, I try. Really do. Keep that in your heads. It's nice to be nice. When you're mad, it's nice to be nice. I like being happy. I like seeing my friends, my family, the 3 random people on my page that decide to watch this podcast. I like to see y'all happy. And I hope that continues for you. As always, I want to promote a couple of my friends. Taj TV. Taijh. Taj TV. Go find him on Facebook. He's doing a wonderful job. He's the one that got me started. Maybe some of you guys hate that. Maybe some of you guys appreciate this. But Taj TV, Facebook, got to go find them. For those Christian folks out there that are looking for an online ministry because you just don't have the time, Truth Valley Church on Facebook. Again, Marcus is one of my brothers, worked in the prison together. Fantastic dude. Whether or not you believe in God, again, he's good people. Good people. Marcus over at Truth Valley Church. Go find him. Like, subscribe. Good people. Last, I would be remiss if I didn't include him this time because, hey, he asked to be promoted, so I'm going to promote him. Arizona Flag Company. Jason's a goofy dude. Goofy dude. Love him to death. Again, worked with him in the prison. Goofy dude, makes flags. Give him a ring. Good quality work. Wouldn't promote him if he was, terrible at his job. As always, if you have questions, if you want to know more about me, you want to know more about the show, you have suggestions for the show, KyleTheWait@gmail.com. I can be found on Instagram. Guys, I'm not super great at social media. I fought it for so long, now here I am on Facebook, doing this podcast. Instagram, WR Podcast Official. And usually it's the next day. It's just whenever I can get to it, guys. If you want to watch, or at least tell your friends, like, subscribe, leave mean comments. Waiting Room Podcast is also on YouTube. Friday, we're talking co-parenting. Maybe it interests you guys, maybe it doesn't. As always, we'll cover a little bit of sports, but I'm going to have a friend on, and we're going to talk about co-parenting. Some of the fun, stories, some of the bad stories. But again, I hope you guys will tune in. I appreciate you guys. Until next time.